Ladies and gentlemen, so today we're going to talk about each interior angle on a regular polygon. You defined a regular polygon yesterday. It's a polygon where all the sides are the same and all the angles are the same. I believe the word that's used in the paper is congruent, but still, same thing. So we know that these are the correct angle measures for these four polygons, the sums, because that's the formula we came up with yesterday. So to find each angle, if there's three angles, I want to know how much each one of those is. I would just divide by the number of sides. You divide it by 3, and you get 60. So each one in an equilateral triangle is 60. We already knew that. A regular quadrilateral, that's a square. And we know that if we take 360 and divide it by the number of sides, or the number of angles, doesn't matter, same thing, you get 90. We knew that each angle in a square was 90. But what about a pentagon? I don't know. Well, I do, but you don't. All right, so if you take 540 and you divide it by the number of sides, you get 108. So each one of these angles is 108 degrees. And on this one, you get 720 and divide it by 6, and you end up with 120 on each one of these. So we had two different formulas yesterday. They're really the same thing, but one is used in one type of problem, one's used in another type. Use this formula when you're given how many sides the shape has. You use this formula when you need to know how many sides the shape has. Same thing on these two formulas. We're going to have 180 times n minus 2 divided by n, the number of sides. If you know how many sides the shape has, you use this one. If you need to know how many sides the shape has, this is the easier formula to use. And there are 3 steps to solving this formula, and they're always the same 3 steps. Well, the first 2 are always the same. The third one varies slightly. All right, so you will use either this one or this one. If you're given n, you got this one. If you need n, you use this one. So on this one, it says, what is the angle measure of one angle of a regular decagon? We know what n is. N is 10, because a decagon has 10 sides. So you take 180 times 10 minus 2 and divide it by 10. 180 times 10 minus 2 would be 1,440, and you divide that by 10, you get 144. Okay? When you do, and that is the answer, it's 144 degrees. On a 17-gon, you take 180 times 17 minus 2 and divide it by 17, and the answer you get is not going to be a whole number, it's going to be a decimal. You're going to round to the nearest decimal place, 2 decimal places, and that would be 158.82. It is about 158.82. It is not exactly 158.82. Now, this is the problem that has the same, there are 3 steps every time you solve it, and the first 2 steps are always the same. Okay? So the setup would be, okay, remember we're going to use this formula. We're looking for each angle, and it's 180 n minus 360 over n. We're trying to figure out, see, how many sides. That means we use this formula right here. How many sides? We use this one. So we know that each angle is 162 degrees. We're looking for n. Here is how you find it every time. The first 2 steps are always exactly the same. You ready? The first step is you multiply both sides by n. And what that does is it moves this n over there. That's pretty much all it does. Every time, that's what you're going to do. You're going to take this n and put it over there. So we're going to have 162n equals 180n minus 360. The next step is always exactly the same. You're going to subtract 180n on both sides. That's going to give you a negative on both sides every time. It's okay. When I subtract 180n on both sides, this side becomes negative 18n, and this side would then be just negative 360. And then the last step is always to divide whatever's with the n over here. So if I divide by negative 18, n would be 20. This is a 20-gon. All right, so that is a 20-sided figure. I apologize. That is a 20-sided figure, or a 20-gon. Now, I'd actually already done this paper 3 times. but my computer kept shutting down. I didn't know why, and turns out my power cord didn't work. I had to grab a different one real quick. So I actually had already filled out this paper one of the times I'd done it, so I'm just going to run through how I did this. So to get this number here, all you do is you take this number and divide it by the number of sides. You take this column and divide it by this column. 180 divided by 3 is 60. 360 divided by 4 is 90. Pardon that alarm, I'm going to talk over it. 540 divided by 5 is 108. 900 divided by 7 is about that. We're going to leave it at that. Okay, I lied. I couldn't talk over that thing. You take all of these columns here, divide them by that column, and you get these answers here. Now, you can pause it here in a minute and write it down. These are the two possible formulas you would need. If you're given in, you use this one. If you're looking for in, if you're given the each, you use this one. Okay? You can pause it now and write the rest of this thing down. Hope that works for you, and we'll practice on this stuff tomorrow.